it's Madeline, and today I'm going to be reviewing The Lost Hero by Rick Riordan. Is the first book in the Heroes of Olympus series, which is the spin-off series to the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series. And this series also consists of 5 books, as you can see here. The Heroes of Olympus series takes place after the Percy Jackson and Olympian series, so they're older in this book. And we do have some of the same characters, but we also have a bunch of new characters which were added in who I really enjoyed, but I'll get into that later. So this book focuses on 3 new demigods, and these 3 new demigods, Jason, Piper, and Leo, go on another quest, and there's all that action and stuff, just like in the Percy Jackson series. So if you have read it, I would highly recommend you move on to this series. These books are a bit more like YA because they're older and they're bigger, so these are like over 500 pages. You get like a lot more content. I'm really enjoying the series so far. I'm already on the market with Athena. I gave this book an 86%, so it's pretty close with the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series, so it's definitely worth a read. If you haven't read The Lost Hero yet, I would advise you do not watch the next part of this video because I'm going to be getting into the spoilers. We're going to be discussing everything that went down in this book. So goodbye to those of you who have not read this book yet. Okay, so The Lost Hero. Let me just talk about the characters really quickly before we get into the plot kind of thing. So I really enjoy the new characters. So like I said before, we have Jason, who is son of Zeus. We have Piper, who is daughter of Aphrodite. And then we have Leo, the son of Hephaestus. These characters were just as well developed as the rest of them. That was great. They were a great addition to the story. My favorite out of the 3, or out of all the new ones, would probably be Leo. I really liked him. At first, like, he had like I found that he had like a lot of depth, like more so than the other demigods. I liked that because he was kind of like funny like Percy, but then you realize that was kind of just a front, and he always felt kind of neglected, and he had a bad past like most demigods do, but he always found himself being kind of left out, and I could relate to that, so I can totally understand this. That's probably why he's my favorite character. But anyways, he can also control fire, which is really cool. That was pretty awesome. And we have Piper, who, like I said, is the daughter of Aphrodite, and I really enjoyed her character as well because she was a tomboy, and typically when you think of Aphrodite children, you don't think of tomboys. You think of them wearing like a bunch of makeup and fancy clothes and being kind of snobby and rich kind of thing. That's how I kind of pictured them. But Piper was different, and I really enjoyed that. She didn't care that much about her look. She tried to downplay it. She didn't want to draw too much attention to herself. And I liked the scene where Aphrodite claimed her, where she got like a complete makeover right on the spot. That was awesome, and it didn't wear off for a few days. So I thought that was pretty awesome, and like I said, I really enjoyed her character in this story. And also, Piper has the ability to charm speak, and I really liked that. That would be such a cool power to have, because she can just like tell people to do whatever she wants. Yeah, Jason was the son of Zeus, or Jupiter, whichever one you want to call it, but he had pretty cool powers. He could manipulate the air currents so that he could fly, which is pretty awesome, and then he could control electricity like we saw with Talia in the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series. And his character, I liked his character, but I didn't like it quite as much as Piper and Leo. So for me, like, he was still a nice addition, but he wasn't quite up to par with the other characters. And while I love the new characters, I really did miss Percy and Annabeth and just the characters from the last series. I love like Percy and Annabeth's like interactions, and I love them together. So I think I forgot to mention that in my book review and my series review for the Percy Jackson Olympian series. Like I love their relationship, but anyways, I really miss them. Like I thought Percy was actually going to be in this book. Like I thought we'd see like a little bit of him in the beginning. Like I knew he was the lost hero, but I thought we would have got to see just a little bit of him and more of Annabeth, actually. Like, I thought we'd see a lot more of Annabeth. I was kind of sad that we didn't see her POV, But I know I started reading The Market with Hina, like I said, and I'm so glad that we got to see her point of view. I'm just, oh, yes, finally, I always wanted to see her point of view. So Jason, Lena, and Piper go on a quest really early on in the story to find or release Hera, and she's been captured or something they've kind of seen in their dreams and stuff like that. So they go on a quest and they ride off on Festus. I love Festus. I love mechanical dragons. Like, you can't go wrong with dragons in quests. Like, that's like impossible to do wrong. So I really liked Festus. He was awesome. So first they went to Quebec with, they met one of the wind gods, I think the North Wind. Yeah, the North Wind, obviously, because Quebec is up north. Anyways, yeah, they met the North Wind, the god of the North Winds or something like that, and they met the Ice Princess or whatever, Kione. I don't know how you pronounce that. Khione. Kione. I don't know. Kione. I don't know, but I didn't like her. She was really nasty. But I loved how Piper could speak French, and I'm like, I can understand this. I love it when you can like understand a foreign language in a book. I'm like reading it. I'm like, oh yes, I know what all this means. So I always love that. And so they went there to get information, and it was throughout the story it was kind of hinted at there was something going on with the Greeks and the Romans. So we had the wind god change into his Roman form, so we're kind of just hinting at, they're not telling us the full truth, but they're kind of hinting at it. So they're just like, you knew that something was going on between the Greeks and the Romans. And when the three continued on and they stopped for a bit, or crash landed, I guess, at, I think it was like a monster, it was a repair shop of some sort. They were like, I believe Cyclopses there, or giants. Cyclops or giants, I don't really remember which. But we learned that their souls are not confined to Hades and they don't go to Tartarus, they kind of start to reform right away. So that made it like really hard. Well, it makes it really hard for them to kill them and to be able to succeed in quests or in battles. And then later on with Medea, and Midas, we learned that thanks to Gaia, she can bring back evil villains that are going to be opposed to the gods. So people dead like hundreds and hundreds of years back, she's brought back to life, and that's going to be a problem as well. Like that's not a good thing. Like, you need to close the doors of death. And I really enjoyed the reunion scene between Talia and Jason. I really liked that. That was such a nice thing. Even though it was pretty short, I mean, you only got to see a little bit of Talia, it was nice to have them reunite, and I really enjoyed that scene. I find the Hunters of Artemis are very convenient. They kind of just like show up when it's most convenient, and then it's like their last hope kind of thing. And throughout the story, we learned that Piper's dad was in trouble. Like, through her dreams or visions, it was relayed to the reader that her dad was in trouble. So we didn't really know where. We just kind of he was being held captive, and like she's like, I might have to betray my friends or whatever. I'm like, I never thought she's gonna betray her friends. I did wish that she would have told Leo and Jason about her dad being gone early on, because she told him kind of at the end, nothing like happens. I was glad the three of them were able to save her dad as well as Hera. So we had two major battle scenes. We had a battle scene between different giants kind of thing. So we had one where there was one guarding Piper's dad, and they beat that giant, thankfully, and got Piper's dad back. Then they traveled via helicopter and eventually met up with the Hunters of Artemis and were able to find Hera, and they had to battle another giant. They didn't defeat him because they unleashed Hera, because when they unleashed Hera, she like completely like wiped out pretty much everything, so he left or something. I don't know how he left, I don't really recall, but I liked that battle scene as well. Those battle scenes I find in this book are really well written, or all of the books are really well written. So during that battle with Hera, we learned that Kione, that crazy ice lady, was trying to pin the Greeks and the Romans against each other and make it look like the Greeks were fighting on their side so that the Romans would be against them. So just trying to pin them against each other. And then she also learned that she was kind of influencing the gods in one way or another. So I'm pretty sure she was defeated. I don't know, I should have done this book review sooner, so memory's not as fresh as it was if I had done it right away. But anyways, I'm pretty sure she was defeated. I just remember this, I forgot to add it in. It was before the two battles. So Piper had this dream, and her mom was there, Aphrodite, and Actually, Aphrodite, like, we'd encountered her before in the last series, and I did not like her in the last series that much. She was kind of an airhead, so to speak. She rubbed me the wrong way, but then in here, I think she was redeemed. She's trying to help Piper out, and she was trying to turn things around with her children, kind of thing. So I really liked that. I really liked that little snippet of the dream, kind of thing. I also liked another scene with Piper, like when they got back to camp and Piper came back to the Aphrodite cabin. I really liked the scene. This is probably one of my favorite scenes, where she told off Drew and she was like, okay, she became head counselor, and I was so happy. She was completely ready to fight, like right there and then, and I absolutely love that, and I was so glad that she became head counselor and that Drew was stripped of the title. So that was great. I really, really enjoyed that scene. And speaking of the different cabins, I liked how we saw inside the different cabins, we didn't just get to see Percy's point of view. We got to see what it's like to be like a child of Zeus or Hephaestus or Aphrodite, and I really liked seeing different point of views and different aspects to the story. Also at the end, we learned that there is a camp for Romans and a camp for the Greeks, obviously Camp Half-Blood. So we learned that Jason was taken from the Roman camp, Camp Jupiter, and placed in Camp Half-Blood. The same was done for Percy. So Percy was taken from Camp Half-Blood and he was put into Camp Jupiter. So they kind of switched around. So we learned what Hera's plan was, and that was done because she wanted the two teams to fight together instead of she didn't want them at each other's throats anymore, because we learned that some of the civil wars, like the demigods were fighting against each other, not just like different people in America, it was also like demigods. So that, I found that one was pretty interesting. But yeah, we learned all about her plan, how she switched the two boys at camp and she wants them together. And it is really the only way they can win against Gaia. Like, you can't just defeat it with one camp, because like if you guys are at each other's throats and then you have another villain coming into the story, your army is going to be depleted both ways, so you can't win. You're going to have to fight together. I really hope the two camps get together and actually see that they need to work together to win the war. And on top of that, we learned like Leo is building the Argo 2, and they're going to have to sail to Greece and have some huge battle there, because it sounded like the giants and Gaia and everyone on that side are going to try and bring Mount Olympus up from the roots and try and just cut it off there so that they can defeat it once and for all. But, you know, anyways, I really did enjoy the book. Like I said, I gave it an 86%. Really good. I'm really looking forward to finishing the series. So that was my book review of The Lost Hero by Rick Riordan. Let me know down below in the comments what you thought of the book. I hope you liked this video, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!